welcome to the From Mourning to Action, Powerfully Working Through Loss podcast. I am your host, Dr. Damon Silas, and on today's episode, I am super thrilled to have this person on. Now, I know I say that every time, but this is actually a really... The way that myself and our guest met was very serendipitous. You know, and that to me is just the universe letting me know and letting us know that we're always in the right place at the exact right time. I actually met this person through a really good friend of mine and my mom's, who lives up in Massachusetts, and then we happen to meet here in North Carolina, so it's amazing. It's incredible how things happen for a reason, and I'm so happy that I got a chance to meet her because her story is incredible. I know you all will get so much value from what she has to share, but we also like to have fun together, and that's really what this podcast is about, is even in loss, you know, which is a painful and difficult topic, and it can be, it's okay to laugh still, you know? So without further ado, let me introduce my guest today, Jenean Fornges. She is the owner of Huntersville Living. So Jenean, say hello to the people.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, excited to have you. Yeah, so I know, like, as we were talking a couple of weeks ago, maybe, we started talking a little bit about the things, again, that we have in common, including our dads and being in the military. And you started talking about the loss of your dad, and it just, I was like, oh my goodness, I would love to have you on the show to talk about, you know, what it's been like for you, especially knowing a little bit more of your background. But do me a favor and share with the people who you are, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, sure. So I lost my dad. It was June 9th, 2016. And going back to kind of what you had just touched on, you know, kind of how we're all connected. You know, we've talked about that. When we're together, it seems like there's always like something is said or done, or we know the same people. Like, it's all these weird things that we're like, wow, we're connected in that way again. On the day that my dad passed away, I didn't realize it until that day that he passed away on the same exact day that his uncle passed away a couple years before. Oh, wow. And this was an uncle that was like a father to him. So very, very close. And so I just thought, you know, that's no coincidence or anything. It's just, you know, they were so connected. And for him to pass away on the same day as his uncle, who was like a father figure to him, that always stuck with me. But yeah, so he passed away on June 9th, 2016. He was a Vietnam veteran. And he was 69 years old, so, you know, that's still pretty young. But just complications with, you know, Agent Orange and the lung cancer. And he did, you know, and he was a smoker also. So just the combination of everything. Unfortunately, you know, we lost him, you know, sooner than we obviously would have wanted to. We would, you know, I think when you're a kid, you always think your parents are going to live until they're like 100 years old or something, you know?
Like they're infallible. Yeah,
so, you know, even though 69 isn't young, it never felt like it was really, you know, long enough time. I kind of always pictured, you know, my dad being like in his 90s, you know. So you're never prepared for something like that, really. You're just not, even when it's a cancer diagnosis and you know it's coming, you're just never prepared. So
right. Well, yeah, and it's just such a good point, because it doesn't matter like how old or how young somebody is, whether it's a sudden, you know, death or something that you had a little time to prepare for. It doesn't matter, because it's still painful and it still leaves a hole in your heart.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially, when you have these ideas and images of you being with this person and them being with you physically for years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's just very true. Nothing can really prepare you, even when even when it's kind of it's coming. You just don't really think that it's ever gonna happen. So yeah, it's very hard. Um, it's hard to lose a parent. It's hard to lose a friend. It's hard to lose anything. I think loss in general, even if it's not about a death, I think just loss is just really difficult. Even if it's a friendship, maybe that you're not on the same page anymore. Like it could be anything. It feels it's just very painful, and you're never ready for it. It's like no matter what, you're never ready for it. Yep. And I think around the holidays, of course, I think that everything can kind of be magnified, and it's just kind of a roller coaster of emotions around this time of year. So,
yeah, and because we're recording this, a couple weeks out from Christmas, and you're right. When you experience loss, especially around the holidays, anniversaries, birthdays, it just brings that stuff back up. How have you dealt with it in terms of, if we look at the action plan, and I'm just curious, like even affirmations, because you're talking, this has been just over 2 years. It's not that long. So this would be the third Christmas without your dad?
Yes, it's going to be.
Okay. And so what do you say to yourself to really kind of push you through those difficult days, or maybe you're having a better day, but what do you say to yourself to help yourself through those times?
I guess I do a couple of things. It's weird. One of the first things that actually came to me was right after he passed away. The head of their church, my parents' pastor, came and sat down with us and was going over the funeral arrangements and all of that. And you have to pick out the songs that you want and that sort of thing. And it was so strange, but it just kind of occurred to me in that moment that even though I was really sad and I felt kind of robbed, he was taken away from me just way too soon. It was weird. There was this part of me that was sort of realizing, well, we always say things like, well, my father, or, my daughter, or my boyfriend, or my spouse, or, whatever. But, and he was my dad, but at the same time, I feel like he really ultimately belongs to God. We all do, right? And then, it's not up at that. So that just made me realize, maybe I should feel thankful for the time that I got with him, because he wasn't really mine. Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense. And to hear you say that, it gives me chills, because we tend to identify those people as ours, like they're our possession in some way, versus they're gods and
they're gifts,
or
right?
gifts from the universe. However people identify, but they are gifts that have come into our lives for the time that they have. What a powerful way to look at it.
Yeah, well, thank you. It was just a strange thought that I had, and I remember being a little hesitant to share it, because we were all sitting at the table, my mom, my sister, and I was a little hesitant to share it, but I did anyway, because it kind of made me feel a little bit better. And so I do think of that. I'm like, well, of course, we all want forever with our loved ones. We don't ever want to say goodbye, but they're not really ours to. And I think that's why people always say, you have to treat each day, you have to, live each day like it's your last, and treat the people you care about, really well, and kind of have that in the back of your mind, because you just don't know. I mean, it's something that can sound kind of cliche and everything, but if you really break it down and look at it and think about it for a second, it really is really true. It'll definitely, yeah. So I do try to think about that, and I meditate a lot. I just try to find a place to get really quiet for a little bit,
so
even if it's just for 20 minutes. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, just flow with it, because had you actually? So when did you find meditation, and how long have you been doing it? Is that something that you started, after he passed away? Is it something that you had been doing but it got stronger? So I'm curious about that.
I think I kind of always did it, and I don't even know if I'm doing it right, and if there is a right way to do it, I'm not even really sure.
There is no right way.
I call it meditation, but I guess what it is just getting quiet and maybe just allowing myself to just rest and kind of just quiet my body and my mind a little bit, because I can kind of be the type of person where I'll just think of a lot of things. My brain kind of doesn't stop at all. And sometimes I just feel like if I can even just lay down for 20 minutes and shut my eyes, I might take a cat nap, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm just listening to music and I'm just quiet. I feel like I just get my energy back, because I can get really drained.
Right. And, it's funny that you said that, because for two reasons. A, I was talking to a group last night about the power of meditation. And this guy was like, is there a meditation that you can do for napping? And I was like, funny that you say that. There's yoga nidra. Because you literally, technically you don't nap, but it's so relaxing that you end up dozing in and out. But the point is, we all need to be replenished and to recenter ourselves. And sometimes I think in our society, we have this tendency to always go, even through loss, even through being tired, even through just overwhelm. And that's such a great reminder of it's okay to pause your day and rest for 20 minutes. Yeah,
I kind of do it every day. I'll take 20 minutes or sometimes even longer to just kind of re-energize myself. And I think, I can kind of feel when I need to. I'll be working really hard on something, using my brain or whatever it is, typing out an email or trying to figure out something, and, I'll just start to, lose ideas, or, I'll feel like I'm hitting a roadblock, and then that's kind of, instead of getting frustrated, that's kind of when I know, okay, you need to just go do something different and relax for 20 minutes. And sometimes that's a hot bath, and sometimes it's just taking a little nap. So, yeah, sometimes it's watching Judge Judy.
Come on, man.
Just anything kind of just...
Right.
Although I'm not sure why she calms me down. That's a little odd, but...
We won't get into... That's a whole different episode, Jenean.
Just... stepping away from, or reading a book even.
Right. Yeah, there are so many different ways. And like you said, there's not one way. And there's no wrong way either. It's just whatever you're feeling in that moment. But just being present to and listening to your mind and your body. I think we all get those signals from our mind and body that it's okay to slow down. We just don't listen to them. So I love that you actually pay attention. It's and I know it's a practice too. So it's not just a one and done thing.
You have to learn how to give yourself permission to do so, because sometimes you might find yourself feeling guilty, so you have to kind of give yourself that permission. But also, it's really super important when you are dealing with loss to really allow yourself to kind of just have some rest time.